I'm coming at you from the Retro Diner. It's Good Friday, and I'm thinking about going to the Catskills. Not sure yet, but I'll keep you posted. It's beautiful outside. Looks like, feels like, smells like spring. So we're gonna see if we can get you some action going today. We finally make it to the poker room and we buy in for 300. We're gonna start with 1-2, but our name is on the list for the 2-5 game. Also, the footage is choppy at times. Please bear with me. This is my first go at it. In this first hand, the action limps to me. I check in the big blind. We go to a flop. I believe it's 3 players. So once I call here, the action checks down. If he would have bet, I would have folded. I let him know that. You know, we only have bottom pair on the flop and we never really improved. And I didn't feel like bluffing. In this next hand, I have the 7-3 suited clubs. I decided to call a raise. I believe it's $10. But when the flop comes down, we miss completely and we end up folding to anything that's bet. We have big slick unsuited. We raise to 10 out of position, and what happens is we miss the flop and we fold to the bet. 9-4 suited. We just call. We go 5 ways to a flop. And here we are, we're 4 flushing and we're looking to mix it up. We bet the draw, get raised to 15. The turn is an offsuit 5. We both check. And on the river, we try to steal with 15 and get called down. We lose. Here we are with the same 10-8 offsuit again. Got an inside straight possibility. We call the bet. So even though we have the straight, we slow down because the flush is out there too. So we go for pot control, we just check. And we have the winner. In this next hand, we make a loose call out of position. And I think we go to a flop 4 ways. And when the flop finally comes down, we miss completely and we fold to a bet of 16 to get out of there. With the 89 offsuit, we call, and then we miss the flop and we fold. With King Deuce, I think we fold to a raise. Okay, Ace Jack, we raise it up to 7. I think we have 4 callers by the end of this. and we go to a flop. Okay, so I see bet for 12 and get called by 1 or off to the turn, which I believe doesn't improve our hand. The villain bets into us for $10 and we call with the overcard and gut shot straight draw. And I believe the river is an offsuit 3, an absolute brick. And we got a showing of our cards because we both check. And he shows ace 10 to my ace jack, and we end up chopping the pot, which is cool. I'll take that. Maybe I could have shoved and stole it, but I'm just taking it easy at this point. In this hand, I call here with a suited 4-7, trying to mix it up a little bit, trying to see a flop and create some type of action. Maybe I'm kind of bored, I don't know. With the flop with 2 hearts, and I don't hold any hearts or didn't connect with the board at all, you know, I'm basically gonna fold to a bet.
Excuse me.
But I believe this is one of the more crazier hands where there's all types of all-in action, and we're just a spectator at this point. I think in the end, 3 players are all in. It's a pretty huge pot.
That's no good.
That's no good. We don't have access to, of course, because we're out.
I thought you made jacks full on the river. I was like, oh my god.
When you've got a blocker.
What do you mean? You could have any jack.
No, I know.
There's another jack.
I know.
You could have jack 5, jack 10, jack 1. Ace jack.
Okay, once again, I have the ace king offsuit, and I believe we make it 10 to go, and we get 2 callers as we head over to the flop. Oh, my rolling pineapple comes. We're happy about that. Trying to get loose on these plays, you know. There we go. Now I'm ready. I'm gonna be bluffing and taking out these guys, doing all types of moves. So when the flop comes, when we hit a pair, top pair with top kicker, I bet a measly 7, I get a raise to 15, and then when it comes back around to me, I bump it up to 30. And I believe I'm called by 2 players, and we go 3 hands to the turn. We actually checked this queen. In retrospect, this was a mistake. When the board pairs here and there's a bet, we gotta let it go. We messed up. This is one of the biggest pots of the session, and unfortunately, we weren't in it. Oh yeah, there was a queen. We didn't have that. Go ahead.
126. Yeah, that's the river. That's a little bird there. I don't know, I wasn't paying attention. Nice
9-6 suited. We call a bet of 12. Trying to see if we could flop some magic. Long story short, the flop comes out. We miss. There's a bet. We get out of there with a fold. With this ace rag, we fold to a big raise. No big deal, move on. After that, we have ace 7 offsuit. We all limp to a flop. Whenever you have suited aces, you're really just trying to flop the monster draw and maximize and take everybody's chips. It's really that simple. So here we go to a flop, basically 7-handed because everybody limped. And my strategy here is got in for a good price and just trying to maximize, keeping costs low. We've been up and down for the session and really just trying to make something happen right here. So we flop the nut flush draw and a running straight possibility. Action checks to me and I bet $8, 8 measly dollars. Excuse the footage, but you know, I ended up hitting the flush on the river and we got paid off. In this next hand, I have king queen offsuit and I raise to 7. The cutoff makes it 17 to go. And we go to the flop 6-handed. This is one of the craziest hands of the session. As you'll see, a lot of action comes on this flop. It's one of my favorite hands of the session, actually. Cutoff goes $25 all in. Under the gun goes all in for 54. Under the gun +1 calls 54. I bump it up to 80. And then the undergun +1 goes all in for 92. And I ended up calling the extra $12. All this action happened on the flop. We have 2 cards to come. But we're pretty confident with our top pair and pretty good kicker. The turn is the 2 of spades, so the flush draw does get there. And the river is another 2. Miraculously, nobody had the flush. Our hand is the best hand. We take down a pretty sizable pot. In this hand, it's just 3 players. I got the flop at the jack, and I ended up taking it down. Going off my table image now is a pretty, tight, solid player, and I'm respected here. Keep it fold.
Hand, aces full of kings. We had ace king in the hole. I'm playing out 250 every half an hour for the high hand. I had 28 minutes left on the thing. 3 minutes later, somebody hits quads at the 3-6 table at the limit game. I'm having fun though.
In this hand, I raised to 5 for my ace queen suited. The dealer asked me to put my phone down, so I limp in the punt for $2 and then ended up calling a raise of 11, and ultimately we go to the flop 4-handed. We basically fold to a bet on the missed flop. I make it 15 to go pre-flop. I c-bet 25 on the flop. The turn gives me a straight draw and I'm all in. I get called and ultimately take it down. This is my last hand of the evening.